Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and Apple released macOS Tahoe 26.5 to the public. macOS 26.5 Tahoe is available around the world at the same time for everyone on all macOS 26 supported devices. This came in at 13.07 gigabytes, that's on my 14-inch MacBook Pro, and this is the M5 Max version. Now this particular update was released alongside many other updates with iOS 26.5, iPadOS 26.5, tvOS and HomePodOS 26.5, watchOS 26.5, visionOS 26.5, and older updates as well. Now let's take a look at the build number and talk about what's new. So we'll go up to the Apple, go to About This Mac, and as you can see, if we click on Tahoe 26.5, the build number is 25F71. And this particular update does add some features. The first feature has to do with messages. And within messages, you can see they've now added RCS encryption. If you enable this on your iPhone on iOS 26.5, you'll see that depending on the carrier and country, this could be rolling out slowly as it's in beta. But it says text message RCS encrypted with a little lock here. It will let you know if iMessage is encrypted and also if it's not encrypted as well. So again, you may not see this right away, but it is rolling out around the world depending on your carrier. If we open up Maps, there's an update here. And if you click in the search dialog at the top, you'll now have an option along the top to select things nearby, such as restaurants, fast food, gas stations, and more. We also have some new icons for these, as well as suggested places that wasn't here before. So they're suggesting things that are nearby. Unfortunately, we should start to see ads from time to time here, just like we do in the App Store, where it will suggest ads maybe nearby for different restaurants and other things. If we go into System Settings and then we go down to Notifications, if you're in the European Union, you may have the option, depending on where you live, to send notifications to third-party devices, such as Apple Watch and others, as well as live activities being sent to third-party accessories. When a new reminder comes into your notifications, you have a new option here where before it used to say remind me this afternoon, now it's giving a specific time, where now it says remind me at 6 p.m. There's another new feature on some specific desktop Macs. You'll see Mr. Macintosh found on X. On macOS Tahoe 26.5, you can now configure some desktop Mac computers to turn on automatically when connected to power. As I mentioned, it's on some desktop Macs. I don't see it here on the MacBook, so it looks like, again, it's a desktop feature on some specific devices. So if we go under Battery on the MacBook Pro, go down to Options, then go down to Energy, you'll see it says Wake for Network Access or Optimize, but I don't have that specific option. So that's something that may show up for you depending on the device you have, or you may have the power options here. Now again, this is on desktops. On the M1 Ultra, I'm seeing this in a different form where it's after a power failure. So some of them have the always option, and this will help you turn on the computer where it's difficult to connect, maybe in a data center. So this is a great new feature for some. Also within macOS 26.5 is the option for developers to offer an annual subscription. So a 12-month subscription that can be paid yearly or monthly and then be canceled at any time so it doesn't automatically renew. Now, when it comes to bugs and bug fixes, there's a few things worth mentioning. For example, when you go to save a file or a document and then type a period or space, this is something I reported on X. You can see that here, where typically what you would do is try and maybe save a text edit document, and by typing the dot in between 26.5, it would actually delete what was in this dialog box. That has been fixed in this update. So if we go to maybe save this document and type macOS 26.5, hit space, before it would just delete entirely. Now it's working properly, so I'm really happy to see Apple fix this. Something else they resolved in this update is under System Settings, and then if we go to AirDrop and Continuity, and then Notifications and Live Activities. If you clicked on this before, you would get an error. I took a screenshot of this that you can see before. The same thing would give an error here side by side and would not open up the dialog to allow notifications. So this is something they resolved in this update. Now we also have a bunch of new enterprise notes that Apple has added with resolved issues. This resolves quite a few issues, and you'll see here where it resolved an issue where some Mac computers may start up to a blank screen after a software update. Also, root and intermediate certificates are correctly updated when renewing enrollment in Device Management Service. The next one's a fairly big one where it resolved an issue where Mac computers restarted unexpectedly while mounting SMB shares. This seemed to be a problem across all of macOS Tahoe 26.4 and after, and this also goes along with Time Machine. So many people were having issues with Time Machine if they were trying to use SMB shares. It just wouldn't work properly. Now that's resolved. In addition to this, it resolved an issue where MacBook Air with M5 and MacBook Pro with M5 Pro or M5 Max restarted unexpectedly when using some content filter extensions. It also resolves an issue where successful smart card logins triggered incorrect password attempts. And also, when autofill is disabled for Safari using device management, autofill passwords and passkeys can still be enabled for other apps in system settings. Also, X11 apps using Xquartz now display correctly after the app window is resized. And again, there's another update here for SMB clients where it was having issues, and now it will work properly, configuring it and everything else. So they had quite a few issues with the SMB shares, and again, that's now resolved. Unfortunately, Apple did not mention any other bug fixes. It just says enhancements, bug fixes, and security updates. And speaking of security updates, there's quite a few. On Apple's security release website, if we scroll down, you'll see all the different updates that were released at the same time. And if we go to macOS Tahoe 26.5, you'll see things starting from Accelerate, App Intents, Core Symbolication, Cups, File Provider, GPU Driver, and much more. There are tons of different security updates in this update, everything from network extension to networking, where the impact was an attacker may be able to track users through their IP address. This was fixed where the issue was addressed through improved state management. Of course, it mentions the CVE number and the person that reported it. But you'll see all of these different updates here as far as security goes. Lots and lots of things, about 50 or so, or even more. So a ton of different important security updates. So if you're wondering if you should install macOS 26.5, it fixes some bugs. It seems to be much better. There is still a bug remaining I'll talk about in a moment, but it seems like it's a much better update. The bug that I found is if I change anything to do with notifications, for example. So if I go into notifications, and then maybe we'll go to Discord. If we turn this on or off, let's see if we can find one that's already off. For example, Google Chrome, turn this on, go into the notifications. Oftentimes I'll see just a black space here. I have to reboot, and that seems to fix it. So that's something that they've updated. So that's something that needs to be resolved. As far as overall performance, well, I haven't used it that often here, but it seems like it's performing quite well already. I haven't seen any stutters so far, but this is a newer Mac. When it comes to battery life, again, I have been testing this on the MacBook Air M4. It seems to be okay. I haven't noticed any excessive battery drain. And on this one, given that it's so new, we should be at 100% capacity. But using it off power, I've had no issues whatsoever. It's easily lasting me. Now, of course, if I'm going to edit a few videos, it will bring the battery down, but on the MacBook Air that I was using, no issues whatsoever. Of course, with future updates, we do expect Apple to show off macOS 27 for the first time on June 8th at WWDC 2026. So I would not expect any updates from now until then, even with betas, as typically Apple will wait until after WWDC to push out the next beta as well. So we may not see macOS 26.6 Beta 1 until after that, maybe around the 15th. That seems to be what Apple did last year. However, they change this every year, so we could see an update between then, maybe as soon as this week or next week. And so that's everything so far in macOS 26.5. Not a huge update, some nice bug fixes. Thankfully, they fixed that saving bug that I was having, and hopefully it's working better for you. Let me know your experience in the comments below, and of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already, though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.